Oh, no, actually, I think this is a very important and very timely remedy towards what just happened in the past 2 or 3 weeks. Well, look, according to our information, that the reason why we're having this turbulence in the beginning of the October is because America, side actually fired the first shot after the Madrid talk. Actually, we have already achieved some framework, stabilized trade talks between each other, no more tariffs on each other, and continue to dialogue on many, issues with the mutual interest on. But American side suddenly find out they didn't score enough, and hence they started their, fuss about maybe firstly about the 50% rule, and then the sanctions on the high technology products. I think the problem is that the American side, they've been doing this all along. They didn't realize how serious that's going to jam the whole world supply, the supply chain. For example, the 50% rule is a much, much more dangerous signal than the entity list. For example, if there are 100 enterprises on the entity list for all the exporters and companies in America, they just need to avoid this 100 companies. Don't sell them things, and that's it. So everybody still have a clear rule. But now with the 50% rule, basically there is no rule. Basically, anyone with a suspicion more than 50% of the stock holding by the entity list, members, and then you are not allowed to sell them anything. So in order to get in line with the compliance requirement by the BIS, so any companies wouldn't dare even to sell one single part to the potential suspected, trade partners. So basically, just in 1 week, every company basically feel suspicious will, be stopped with the shipment of all kinds of the parts. The supply chain has been suspended for good. So I think that's the reason why China has, launched this retaliative rare earths, counter strike, and hence American side also suffered a lot from this, counter strike. For example, in America, the whole rare earth inventory is only less than 3 months. And just imagine this 3 months plus another, irrelevant, product concerning the rare earths. Probably you can sustain only 1.5 a year. Imagine within 1.5 a year, Apple cannot issue the new iPhones, and Nvidia cannot build the new GPU. The whole world is going to be stopped. So that's the reason why we look into this Malaysia talk so importantly, so significantly. Because if we cannot make a deal and leave the talk without a good deal, I think the whole world will suffer from the whole consequences.
Mr. Qu, how do you think does China's principle of cooperation over confrontation manifest in its regional engagements and global initiatives, particularly amid rising geopolitical tensions?
Oh, a great question. I think China is a very, very certain and stable player. So we always, ever since the very beginning, I think we made the message very clear. If you want to fight, we fight. If you want to talk, the door is always open. Because China is a responsible player. We fully understand this ripple effect, this gravity of a potential conflict on the global supply chain. Like we just mentioned. Well, if we continue with this kind of a fuss, I think the whole world, especially China, America, will suffer from it. Well, I still remember there is a little example back in 2023. China and America have a little bit conflict over the rare earths, and just in 1 month, American high technology producers actually lost $5 billion on the sales, and that's going to spill over like a lot. For example, potentially, I think the third party will suffer more. For example, in Germany, who are large producers for very high level mechanics and also magnetics, they're probably going to lose about 4 million of direct and indirect jobs and about 4 billions of the US dollar worth of the GDPs all over it. And just one example. But if we can open up with the talk and also remove all this conflict out of the picture, and I think lots of things can be improved. For example, there is another example between China and ASEAN nations where it's totally free trade and everything is just open and transparent. In the past 1 year, China and ASEAN nations trade has been rising more than 13%. And just among the ASEAN members themselves, I think, for example, Vietnam just made another 14% of the increase in the export last year. So which in the same period of time, the whole global export trade has only been rising at 2.5%. So you can see this kind of transparent fair and just trade environment can largely boost the global trade and also the supply chain. So that's the reason why China holds this attitude. If really want to fight, we fight, but we still uphold the banner of the multilateralism and we still try to uphold the globalization and opening up.